Good morning, beautiful community. So nice to see you all today. Thank you, Jean. I would tell you all to take your seats, but you beat me to it, so thank you. Marilyn, you trained them well. Good morning to everybody. Our tech team's here, making sure everything's running smoothly, and thank goodness. If I ever walk in and they're not here, I'm leaving for that day, okay? But thank you for all you do. We have our introductory song, and I love that. Set the tone of this whole session today, and that's exciting. Welcome to the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. We teach the science of mind, which is the study of life and the nature of the laws of thought, the idea that we live in a spiritual universe, that God or Spirit is in, through, and around us. And I feel that now. And that this presence is a loving source of all. If you're joining us today on Facebook or YouTube, you can click on Facebook, you can click the icon for closed captioning, and that will help if you're having trouble hearing our service today. Whether you're rejoining our service here in person or online, we are glad that you are here. I am practitioner Carol Helms, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to our service today. This service has been designed especially for you. Welcome home. We would not be able to bring this Sunday service without the loving service of many dedicated people who serve. Our tech team I've already mentioned, our greeters, our ushers, welcomer team, and we have an announcement angel, which is exciting. In addition, we have practitioners serving on High Watch and offering benediction and prayers after service. So you will be supported in many ways. The Home Office of Science of Mind has developed a global vision for the entire year, and it is Living Everyday Wonder. The global theme for the month of July is relationships. The talk today will be delivered by Reverend Karen Linsley and is entitled, You and Me Create Society. Now, I want you to, if you're in the room, articulate with me the vision and mission statements. And if you're at home, you can do what you like. You can scream it out loud, which would be fine. We'll feel the vibration. Our vision: transforming our world with the power of love in action. Our mission: loving all creation through spiritual growth and service, always staying true to our highest self. Now, I'm going to ask practitioner Marilyn O'Leary to come up and get your hearts ready through an invocation.
Please close your eyes if you're comfortable and go in and find Spirit right there with you. I know Spirit is with me, and I look inside and realize what Ernest Holmes meant when he said, change your thinking, change your life. And I listen to and take on the wonderful suggestion, think of beauty, think of love, think of all good things. And by doing so, we will raise ourselves up. We will have the light of Spirit in our eyes. We will have the gifts of Spirit in our bodies. We will know what our service is for today. We will know our purpose for today. And so knowing that Spirit is in us, that Spirit is all around us, that all we need to do is look, pay attention, listen, and God is there. And so knowing this, I welcome you all. I bless this service. I know that every person taking part in this service is blessed and that it all goes perfectly. And knowing all of this, please say with me, and so it is.
Thank you, Marilyn. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, that is not my stomach growling. Perhaps I'm too close. For our sacred reading this morning, I was thinking about the topic that Reverend Karen will be talking about and was digging around and thinking. And I came across, I tend to read from our Science of Mind magazine a lot. And this month, of course, is on relationships. And there's an article in here by Dennis Merritt Jones called Our Connections Create a Life Worth Living. And when I looked a little deeper in there, I'm going to read from you a quote that he put from Caroline Reynolds from a writing of hers called Spiritual Fitness. The deep urge that draws us together. We are each driven by a deep urge to form an intimate connection with the world around us, and most of us do this through relationships. If you take a soul, S-O-U-L, if you take a soul look at this, you will see your need for relationship. It actually stems from your basic human need to overcome your earthly sense of separation. I love the promise in that phrase. We're born connected, and now we practice, for some reason, separation in our human form. But the promise is on the other end, and I love that. We already discovered that this perspective affects billion plus people. We are part of all of that. We are so interconnected that it's probably more than we humanly can handle. But I think we can relax in that, in those moments of tension, those moments of, I don't know what to do next. Sit down with a friend. They're surrounding us. Right now, Gene Corbin's going to provide more special music. Thank you, Jean. Thank you so much. Okay, this morning we have our own interim minister, Reverend Karen Lindsay, presenting the message this morning. And I've already given you the title of it, You and Me Create Society. So I think this is going to be a fun creation service this morning. Reverend Karen became a practitioner in 2008 and a minister in 2014. She has a focus ministry called Fearlessly Feral CSL, through which she produces a podcast of the same name, teaches classes, does workshops and retreats. She's an author of 2 books. In addition, she also serves as interim minister for Centers of Spiritual Living and is currently with RGCSL. So let's all give a warm welcome to our own Reverend Karen Lindsay.
Good morning, everybody. It's so nice to visualize all of you on the other end there. And yes, today I am talking about you and me creating society. And just as a reminder, we get our Sunday topics and our titles from the Global Vision, which is used by Centers for Spiritual Living all over the world. We don't have to use those topics, but here at Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living, we're using them, and I love them. I love them. So yeah, you and me create society. And just one little itty bitty sentence, and there's so much there. Here's what comes up for me out of that one little itty bitty sentence. What are you creating? What am I creating? What are we creating? What is society? And do we even believe that we can create society? I mean, there's a premise there that we believe that we can create society. So when I contemplate all of those questions, my answers stem from a belief in my own power to create. And guess where I got that belief from? I got it from oneness. You know, we teach oneness here. If what we teach about oneness is true, and what we teach about oneness is that we are all one with God, that God is everywhere present, that there's no separation, that I'm a part of God, you're a part of God, we're a part of God, everybody's part of this same thing. And if that's true, then we all have that same power to create. We have that lots and lots of power because we have that God power flowing in and through and as us. So once I've acknowledged that I have this power to create, then I think about what I'm creating here. We get to think about what are we creating here. And I think about how I can create better. I think about how I can show up being our affirmation for today, which is I am a powerful catalyst of love within society. How can I do that? How can we show up as a powerful catalyst of love within society? Sometimes it's a tall order, especially when there's appearances to the contrary. You know, there's stuff going on in the world. And I don't know about you, but these last few years, I've had to work harder than ever with my spiritual practices. And I don't even like to say that, work harder than ever. I've had to lean more into and on my spiritual practices in order to continue to be a powerful catalyst of love within society. And I'm not always successful at it. During those times, I try to retreat and go hide under the covers and keep my mouth shut. But when I can be that powerful catalyst of love within society, then I come out from under the covers and I speak and I write. I believe that it is a spiritual imperative that we show up as a catalyst for love. I believe it is a spiritual imperative that we work towards creating good. I believe it is a spiritual imperative that we work towards togetherness and inclusivity and peace. Now, why do I say it's a spiritual imperative? Because if we don't, then we're contributing to all that ick that's in the world, the hate and the separation and the exclusivity and the violence and the suspicion. If we are not showing up as a catalyst for love within society, we're showing up as the other. And I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that. And if we aren't showing up as a powerful catalyst of love within society, we're also not being able to feel that love within ourselves. Because it all begins within. And that's where I want to take us now, is that inward exploration of being a catalyst for love within ourselves first, and then taking it outward into society. Ernest Holmes told us, within us is the unborn possibility of limitless experience. Ours is the privilege of giving birth to it. By the way, did you know that Holmes mentions the word within 574 times in the Science of Mind textbook? And no, I didn't sit down and count them all. I work off a Kindle. And the cool thing about Kindle is you can do a word search and you can type in the word within, and it'll tell you how many times that word is mentioned in the book. I use that feature for my research and all the things that I do. I have a topic, and so I wanted to go within. So I typed in within in my textbook on my Kindle 574 times. That's a lot of times. Obviously, this concept of going within is important. We need to go within. And if going within is a dangerous neighborhood for you, let's talk. Because I have ways to convert that neighborhood into a safe place. The way that I put this language of Holmes is, if I don't go within, I go without. If I don't go within, I go without. And there's so many other people that advocate this going within thing. Every faith tradition in the world advocates we go within. Mary Morrissey says in her abundance class that everything is created twice. First within us, then out there in the world. So in order to show up as a powerful catalyst for love in society, out there in the world, we must go within first and show up as a powerful catalyst for love inside ourselves, for ourselves, with ourselves. And so I ask you today, do you truly love yourself? Do you love yourself enough to set aside all the unworthiness and doubt and fear that has taken a lifetime to accumulate and create something new in your life? Do you love yourself enough to stop abusing your body with busyness and not enough sleep and eating all the wrong things? Do you love yourself enough to change your self-talk and begin to give credit to yourself and simply love on yourself? It's a question that is really good for us to explore in our lives. And I can tell you personally that this is a process I'm still working on. It's much better. I've made a lot of progress. But I began this spiritual way of living not knowing what I did not know. And what I did not know was that my self-esteem was lower than a snake's belly in a ditch. And it had always been that way. I knew nothing different. I did not know what I did not know. So I show up for this spiritual way of living, and I start going within it, and I start exploring, and I start thinking about stuff, and I start questioning things, and pretty soon I started having some realizations. You know, I did that spiritual practice that in CSL land they call inner self-awareness. And so I had these realizations, and I realized that I had done things in my life that were not very kind to myself. I realized that I had allowed other people to do things that weren't very kind to me. I had allowed other people to say things that weren't very kind to me. And I had this realization that I had done so because my self-esteem was lower than a snake's belly in a ditch. And when I had that realization, I got really sad. So then I had to work through the grief because, you know, that was something sad. That was something I grieved over. How long did I go through life thinking that I was lower than a snake's belly in a ditch? And so when I had those realizations, I began to change things for myself. And I grieved what could have been, and I grieved the loss of a way of being. And I began to rebuild myself with a vision of showing up as a catalyst for love, for myself first. I had to love myself first. And the law of attraction tells us that. We cannot show up as a catalyst for love within society unless we love ourselves first. So this is the work we are called upon to do here today. Sometimes we have to rebuild ourselves to show up as a catalyst for love. And I want to go back to that quote, because on that same page where that first quote that I gave you is the next quote. And it's my most favorite quote ever. And I know I say this at almost every talk. It's my most favorite quote ever. But this one really is my most favorite quote ever. Principle is not bound by precedent. Here's the entire sentence. Because we fail to realize that principle is not bound by precedent, we limit our faith to that which has already been accomplished, and few miracles result. When, through intuition, faith finds its proper place under divine law, there are no limitations, and what are called miraculous results follow. So if we are to show up as a catalyst for love, first for ourselves and then for society, and if everything begins within, then we must go within and do whatever work necessary to know that whatever happened in our lives previously, all those old stories, we must know that they have absolutely no bearing on what can happen today and no power to affect us in any way. That's what principle is not bound by precedent means. It means the past is irrelevant. That's the bottom line. Our past is irrelevant. We get to create new today. And if I can create new, if I can create a new way of being and a new way of living, then so can you. So our call today is to begin within with loving ourselves. And then once we do that, we take it outward a bit, because we do have a hand in creating society. Now, I'm sure you're aware that there's something been really interesting been happening in society. I call it interesting. I could call it other things, but I won't, because I'm a powerful catalyst for love in society today. So it's interesting. Appearance-wise, sometimes I think it's hugely disappointing. It's dismaying, it's frustrating, it's sad. Sometimes I feel as if I've been betrayed by a huge portion of the human race. And when I feel that way, I'm not feeling the love, guys. I'm not feeling like I'm a powerful catalyst for love in society. And so I have to return and go back within and go hide under the covers for a while. And I have to repeat as necessary. So being that powerful catalyst for love within society begins with each and every one of us. And it begins with us being aware of our consciousness so that we can replace it with something better if needed. And then, along with the interesting stuff that's going on, there's also a lot of change that's going on. We've got COVID. We've got all the icky stuff that's attempting to move us backwards in time as a society. There's change. And I can understand how it would be easy to succumb to negativity. I can't do that. I'd like to think you can't do that either. Being negative is not a good way to live. It's no fun. And in succumbing to that, we do things like we see the glass as half empty. And any jokes about, well, I just drank all the water in the glass. It doesn't matter whether it's half full or half empty. We can't enjoy that kind of stuff because all we see is half empty. We don't see half full. We don't see the availability of the water in the glass. We complain about what is wrong instead of moving with a vision towards what is right. For years, possibly since humans first developed communication, there have been complaints and commentaries about what is wrong with the world. What is wrong with the government, with this country, with the weather, our jobs, our spouses, our children, our churches. And the energy of those complaints has not made things better. Complaints never make things better. It is only when dedicated people see a vision of change and work towards it that any effective and beneficial changes can occur. If we are going to change society, then we must begin to discuss and envision and become the beloved, wonderful society. And we are invited to release our morbid obsession on the ills of the world and society. Doesn't mean bypassing them. It means replacing them with something good, something better. Science of mind gives us the same ability to see a condition and transform it and transmute it and transcend it in order to reveal the truth. And the truth is that we are a powerful catalyst for love in society. That's our truth. So I have a little example for you, a story about how this works in action. And it's the most wonderful example that I can think of for you guys as a community right here and now. Recently, a few of us here at Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living decided to form a website committee. Now, this committee was formed based on complaints. But what has happened since then is wonderful to witness. Now, I want to give credit where credit is due. Your new senior minister had a hand in this transformation. He had a very big hand in transcending the complaints into something that looked like a powerful catalyst for love. He came to our first meeting with us, and after listening to some complaints for a while, he suggested that we proceed with doing a visioning process. What a concept. I never would have thought of that. I don't know why. He said, let's do spiritual practice together. Let's go within first and see what wants to be born. So the committee met again, and that week that we met, Reverend Gill was out on a teen camp retreat, and so I did the visioning for the committee. And then we proceeded to have the most wonderful meeting where we had examples of other websites that we loved, and we looked at them and we talked about them, and we talked about what we loved about them. And the excitement got generated, and the excitement built upon more excitement, and we began to brainstorm. And the energy we created was wonderful and positive. So within the society of that committee, we began with the visioning process, and we created a committee based on what we wanted rather than what we didn't want. We created a loving society in that committee, and we did it by first going within. So we turn our complaints into focusing on what wants to be born. We focus on the good, and then we work towards that. And this is how we create a successful society. This is how we show up as a powerful catalyst for love in society. We go within and we do our inner work. And we say, this is my vision. This is what I want to see happen. And we focus on that, and we take that out in society, and we talk about that. I don't have this quote in my talk, but Ernest Holmes, in a message called Sermon by the Sea at a Silomar, gave a talk once, and he said, show me someone who is for something and against nothing. This is what I'm talking about here, to be for something and against nothing. We have power. With that power comes responsibility, and our responsibility is to show up as a powerful catalyst for love within society. So that's your call today. How can you show up as a powerful catalyst for love in society? And I have a really nice little story I'm going to close with. But before I do that, this is my last talk with you guys. My time with you ends July 31st. Today's my last talk with you. This is transition month for all of us. I'm headed out and Reverend Gill is headed in. And I can't tell you how many times I've sent gentle reminders with texts and emails and phone calls reminding people that they need to copy Reverend Gill with all the correspondence, because he's coming in and I'm going out, and he needs to know what's going on here. Because after July 31st, My time with you is complete. And I've been working with Reverend Gill for a while now, and I'm here to tell you that Reverend Gill has got this. He has you. He has your backs. He is showing up in a huge way, doing things like suggesting a visioning process to turn our website committee from negative to positive. He's doing stuff like that. But he can't do it in a vacuum. All of you are creating with him this society called Rio Grande CSL together. I can't wait to see what you all create. Remember that principle is not bound by precedent. What went on before has no bearing on what can happen today and in the future. And remember this other little spiritual truth, guys. You cannot create anything new until you let go of the old. You cannot create new principle in your lives unless you let go of those precedents. How this plays out in practical terms is that after July 31st, I am no longer your senior minister. Reverend Gill is. Releasing the old means don't call me with a question about Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living, because I'm not going to answer it. I'm going to tell you, Reverend Gill is your new senior minister now. Call him. You can call me about your personal stuff, but I will not sabotage this community and all of you and the work that you guys are going to do here by remaining available to answer any questions about Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. Reverend Gill has got this. Let go of me, let go of the old, and embrace him fully and completely. Get going on that relationship with him. He's prepared for this. He's got this, and so do you. And I just want to say that I love you all. I thank you all. I've been with you for about 1.5 years, and I've learned so much from all of you. I've learned a lot from Reverend Gill in a really short time, too. You guys have got yourself a very wise man there, and I'm so excited for all of you. So here's my closing story. Now, I got this story on Facebook from Reverend Barbara Bew, who you may be familiar with. She got it from Reverend Misando Hiroka, and it's titled From a Hopi Elder Speaks. You have been telling the people that this is the 11th hour. Now you must go back and tell the people that this is the hour. There are things to be considered. Where are you living? What are you doing? What are your relationships? Are you in right relation? Where is your water? Know your garden. It is time to speak your truth. Create your community. Be good to each other. And do not look outside yourself for the leader. And then he clasped his hands together and smiled and said, this could be a good time. There is a river flowing now very fast. It is so great and swift that there are those who will be afraid. They will try to hold on to the shore. They will feel that they are torn apart. I lost my place. There we are. They will feel that they are torn apart and will suffer greatly. Know that the river has its destination. The elders say we must let go of the shore and push off into the middle of the river. Keep our eyes open and our heads above water. And I can say, see who is there with you and celebrate. At this time in history, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. From the moment that we do, our spiritual growth and journey comes to a halt. The time for the lone wolf is over. Gather yourselves. Banish the word struggle from your attitude and your vocabulary. All that we do now must be done in a sacred matter and in celebration. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Thank you so very much, everyone, and bless you all. It's been my pleasure to serve you.
Thank you, Reverend Karen. Always get what I need when I come here. Does anybody else have that experience? Yeah. Yeah. I think that's called being open, and I just love it. Oh, you're all in color. Look at that. Cool. It's our offering time now. It's our time to share our abundance. For those of you joining us online, there are multiple ways to give your offerings and donation that are scrolling across the screen now. Those of you present in the center, you're welcome to approach the podium and place your offerings in these two baskets that are placed here for you. Everyone's offerings are very essential to our ministries, and we are sincerely grateful for all who can share whatever the amount. After we say the giving affirmation, we will hear another song from Jean Corbin. Now, would you repeat the affirmation of abundance with me? I am abundant, and I give from my abundance. I am prosperous, and I give from my prosperity. I am blessed, and I give from my blessings. My blessings of spirit are as abundant as the stars, and so I give and receive generously. And so it is. Thank you, Jean. Between you and Reverend Karen, I have spirit bumps everywhere. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Would you help me now, please, to bless these gifts to our center, to the universe? Thank you, sweet spirit, for all these gifts. You're grateful. We are grateful for the provision all our ministry needs and for all our ministry needs and more. We are thankful for the infinite abundance of the universe, for our good health, for our friends and family, and especially for the opportunity to express our love and appreciation for each other. In this moment of gratitude, we allow ourselves to appreciate the abundance and prosperity that comes to our center. Each gift and giver are blessed and valued. We now declare that each person's peacefulness, joy, and abundance is increased 1,000-fold. Please join me by anchoring this prayer with, and so it is. Welcome, visitors. Do we have anyone here today that's new with us? Not to insinuate that if you're not new with us, you're old. Okay? You're just right. We are all just right. Well, welcome. And if you're online out there in the cyber world, welcome to the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. Drop by and see us. We have folks here during the week, Monday through Thursday, and we just want to say hello and welcome you in person. So if you're out there in the world, come visit us. We offer many prayer treatments. People who are wearing these are not being punished, okay? We're practitioners here with the center, and we would love to just have a short mini prayer with you if you want to when the service ends. And that can be an affirmative prayer. It can be a spiritual mind treatment. It will be a mini prayer. But it can also, it doesn't have to be because there's something wrong in your life. It can be because something really good's happening. And I love that when that happens. People come and tell me good news. Boy, is that not a reason to pray? You know, the days of praying only when you're bargaining with God, oh, please, God, I'll never do it again if you don't let this happen to me again. You know, an affirmative, thankful prayer is so much more fun, right? So join one of us if you would like that today. In addition, we invite you to use the prayer request box on the back table. Prayer request forms are beside the box. You'll also find a prayer request form in the pocket of the chairs in front of you. If you're online, go to the website at Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living.org and click on prayer request at the top of the screen. Our prayer practitioners are delighted to support your prayer requests through the week. Right now, I'm going to call up Dr. Norm Dawson to share the morning announcements. Sorry, you're first. They told me.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Reverend Karen. We've been following you for a year and a half, and this was your last message, but I hope that you get a chance to come back here and be a guest speaker sometime. So let's give Karen, Reverend, a round of applause for her last message here. And grateful that she was able to be here for the whole time. Hey, Gene, always love your music.
Always love seeing you and listening to you.
And do you know his birthday was Friday? Happy birthday, Gene.
70 years old.
Woo! Man, you're a youngster. I got you beat by 4 years.
Okay. I'm chasing you.
Yeah, you am. As Reverend Karen said, Reverend Gill will be on board coming in August 1st, and he is doing meetings and meeting with people. So he's in the process of making that transition. So we're grateful for that. We stand with Ukraine for independence and peace. So don't forget that during the week. The news doesn't always talk about that, but they're still fighting for their lives. Did you know that today is National Ice Cream Day? Yay! Did I miss something? No. Oh, well. Okay, Compassion Ministries has a weekly theme. In this week, the theme is one of my favorite themes, and that is listening. Listening is a skill that we can develop, and you'll know if you're not listening, if you're doing all the talking, or if you're trying to come up with a response to what somebody else is saying. It's truly a skill that's valuable. It will enrich your lives. Someone said that listening is almost like a feeling of intimacy or affinity for the other person. So there's some great links on the website talking about where you can get more information about the listening skill. The recurring events, I'm not going to go into details because that's in the newsletter. Again, it's Course in Miracles. The Board of Trustees meeting is tonight. That's the third Sunday. And the Gather event that happens every last Friday of the month. And that's it for me, live from New Mexico, Sunday morning announcement.
Carry that with you. If we could bottle that up and sell it, it'd be good, huh? Right? Thank you, Norm. Okay, and it's time of the month for my share. And today we're going to have Brian Kurtz. Brian Kurtz is going to come up and talk with us in a few minutes about what moves him, an insight or something they're applying in their life about spirit of mind, science of mind principles. And we do this, is it once a month or twice? Twice a month, the second and fourth Sundays, third and this is third. Anyway, we're here on the right day, all right? And we're glad that you're here. So come on up, Brian. And after that, Jean will we'll have a benediction with Marilyn O'Leary, and then a final song by Jean Corbin.
Thank you. So I may be kind of loud. I'm going to step back from the mic, and hopefully this is okay. First of all, I want to thank you all for being who you are, because from the moment I walked in here, I felt welcomed. I felt loved, seen, appreciated. This is a really wonderful place. And I know it. I want to make sure that you know that I know it. I know you already know it. But I got so much to say, and I kept trying to think of, what is it that I want to say? How do I tell people what I do? And I'd rather just tell you like who I am and some history, because it may sound like a sales pitch, but I'm blessed with a life that serves and making a living my making. Sounds kind of corny, but that's literally who I am and what I do and who I be in the world. And by the way, happy birthday. My son's birthday was also Friday. My younger son, he was 20 on Friday. Drove into Austin to see him, drove back yesterday. And there's so much I want to say. I don't even know where to start. So I'm just going to say I'm a healer. I'm a medical empath. I see into people's bodies and help wash away what's in the way so that what's in there can be, and the person can be free of whatever it is they've been carrying, because stuff lives in your cells. And to wash that away starts with a thought here and an awareness that sort of happens and is. It's like we don't have awareness, we are awareness. And when we're aware of our awareness, we can be in the awareness that clears stuff away so that the divinity that we are can be and express itself. I started reading Ernest Holmes several years ago when I was a member of a Unity congregation in Austin. And the thing about Holmes that really turned me on, because I grew up in a very numbers-oriented, science-oriented family, as well as music. Music's been a part of my family for generations, professionally and whatnot. And what I learned was, like Holmes said something along the line of, if your religion doesn't stand up to science, you need to take a look at your religion. And what I learned from studying into that is, like, if you split a photon and you put it into a particle accelerator and you move halves of a photon 7 miles apart, they still move together like they're still connected. Not like cause and effect, but like they're still together, which sort of implies that everything since the beginning of time, and Stephen Hawking talks about like a rip in the fabric of something that was sourced from something else into which spewed 3D reality. it implies that everything is still connected since the Big Bang. And now that we have all these cool telescopes that are seeing farther and farther out into the universe, we can see that not only is the universe still expanding since the Big Bang, but the expansion is accelerating. It's not just like starting to slow down where it'll eventually come in and collapse. It's like it's accelerating, which implies an ongoing creation of everything in the universe, co-creating with everything else in the universe. Now, what does this have to do with anything? We're all connected. And there's a way to tune into who and what we are that is part of the connection that we all have with each other. And to find this place and to have read Ernest Holmes and something about the Center for Spiritual Living, that's what it is. To live spiritually, it's about living in that connection that we have and that we are. And the greater the extent to which we can be aware of that, the greater the extent to which we can feel connected. Like namaste. Everyone's heard namaste, the divine light in me can see the divine light in you. But what no one really talks about is if I'm standing in that divine light that I am, I can make eye contact after making some capital eye contact and connect with people. And we can connect with each other from long distance, 2,000 miles away, or with whoever's standing in front of us. And it's all there. It's all available. And the other thing that no one talks about the namaste thing is if I'm in that light, not only can I see the divine light in you, but if you're not in that place and you're kind of sleepy or in your head or whatever, if we make eye contact and I'm in that place, I can catalyze that in you. Like we got a musician. That guy's music radiates out and people are moved. I don't know if you know the term synesthesia, but I have synesthesia. I hear music and I see sound. And that's what's available. It's like our senses aren't quite enough. Like we got 5, but it's the 6th one that really gets the job done and ties it all together. And that's the one that can't really be explained. Like how do you touch being, right? But it's there and it can be experienced. So I started doing healing work after I got divine download in June of '84, working on my master's degree in recreation administration at a summer camp in Mississippi. And I did recreation, got my master's degree in recreation administration, was a camp director, Boy Scout guy, municipal parks and rec guy. And then it didn't work out because I wasn't making enough money to feed my family. So I went back into the audio business, which I had done. But having been a recreator, which is all about peak experience, I began doing home audio and stereo and music as a peak experience. So like, what can we do to a music system to have it be more emotionally involving? And I did that for a long time. And then the economy cratered my audio business when the economy cratered back in 08, 09. And I said, what am I going to do to be me and make a living? And series of bizarre experiences and events guided me to be a healer and take up in November of 2010, dedicating my life to that. Within a week of that, I fixed a herniated disc from an old friend of mine in Seattle, 2,000 miles away, and she got up the next morning pain-free and med-free. I told the mastermind group I was in that had me become a healer and declare that one night in front of a bunch of people. That was a crazy experience. And then the next week after that, a guy brought me a friend of his who'd had rheumatoid arthritis, and she was allergic to pain meds. Worked on her for 45 minutes. Her rheumatoid arthritis disappeared, and it's never come back. I'm really clear I'm not the one doing that. Okay. But what's coming through me, I used to say, I'm not the water, I'm the hose. And some guy said, yeah, but you're the hose God chose. And there's something to that. It's like, this is who I am. And it's what I got. But the thing to remember is that we've all got that. Everyone has whatever they've got that they're here to bring. And what I love about this congregation is that you have all been open and seeing me so that I can bring me. And I apologize for the tears, but that's what happens when this happens. So I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. And I want to serve. I have this thing I call Soul Connection Workshop. I printed out some flyers which need to be updated with the RGCSL logo on top of my logo on the brochure. But It's about a 2-hour experience that will help you connect deeply with anyone and everyone. And I want to bring it here so that we can bring people here and grow this place so that more people can experience what it is we are and do and be here. So if you want to do the workshops, they're generally going to be the second weekend of every month. I'd like for him to be here. We still don't have absolute confirmation from Reverend Gill that that's okay, but Carmelo started handing out flyers, so I don't know if that's like, if it's too soon, blame Carmela. Anyway, it's magic because it's an experience that we all can experience that gets us to that place where we can see and be seen and touch that place that we all have in us that you can't really talk about it, really, but you can know it. And so thank you for seeing me, giving me the opportunity to be me, and I look forward to bringing it. Thank you.
Thank you to everybody who has taken part today. It's been such an uplifting experience. It's what I came for. I came to be lifted up, and I have been lifted up. So I also want to say how grateful I am for every person who participated today. The music touched my heart and my mind. It was absolutely perfect. The tech team being connected the way we are is a miracle. Seeing people's expression of themselves and the beauty of that is so wonderful and is God. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for Carol, for Reverend Karen, and I wish her all good things. She has been such a good shepherd for us for a year and a half, and she's been wonderful. I'm grateful for this center. I'm grateful for having this place, all of you to come to remind me that all is well. God is with us. We are with each other. We are one with Spirit. The great oneness is what we are, and we are part of that. So I bless every person who is listening. I bless every person who is here. I bless every person who will hear this later, knowing that the blessing comes from us and to us. And to know that we are connected, to know that we are living in joy with each other. Please say with me, and so it is. Amen.